Hello everyone, today we're on the 1 year life transformation challenge. We're going to talk about travel and the point of traveling. Hello everyone, I'm excited to talk about travel today. It's something that I really enjoy to do, and the more I look around, the more I see more people traveling to more exotic destinations than ever before, and it's very exciting to see. So where does this phenomenon come from? Why do I find it so amazing, and why do so many people enjoy traveling? Well, as always, I'll begin with a quote on the subject, and that quote is, 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the ones you did do. Mark Twain. Think about this. People are constantly thinking about worrying about, what if I go to China and it's not that good, or I have my bag stolen. You're not going to regret the things that you did do. You will regret the things you didn't do, because everything you do that even doesn't work out makes you stronger. So this is what's really key at travel. And I know this particular. I had an opportunity to go to Tuscany just recently. And actually, it wasn't even an opportunity. It was an incredible invitation, which I think in previous lives I would have simply seen as an invitation, talked myself out of it, and not gone. But I made a decision on that day to go, and that was incredible. It was probably one of the greatest weeks of my life. And when I look back on it, I realised that simply choosing to do it now, and choosing that there's no future putting it away, and there's no, this opportunity should just be taken, meant that it happened. Whereas in so many times I could imagine people's lives, they put it off, and before you know it, there's no opportunity to travel. And my personal story is, knowing things can be different. Like, Italy is a good example. In Italy, they still have a 2-hour lunch break. And they still have a country, and it works, and people are alive, and the sky's not falling, and rich tycoons aren't freaking out because their P&L budgets are failing. They make Ducatis, they make Ferraris, they make the best leather goods in the world, and they take 2 hours off every single day to sit down with their family and have a meal. Things can be different. This world, in particular Australia, is sort of a unique colony of America at the moment. When you look at it culturally, we believe in this, work to the top, everyone's given equal opportunity, you just work 60 hours a week, and one day there'll be a big golden parachute and everything will be wonderful, even though you didn't enjoy your job or your life up until that. We've really bought into that. We eat our lunch at our desk because we think that's what you have to do. And one of the great things I've found as I've travelled is I've found that's not what you have to do. That's what you have allowed yourself to fall into the trap of. They are the things that you have tolerated, and you don't have to tolerate. And there's countries out there right now, I'm not saying Italy is perfect or France is perfect, but what I'm saying is there's countries out there who have said no, they will not tolerate. France does not tolerate more than a 36-hour work week. They do not tolerate angry emails sent from your boss at 4 a.m. They block that. They have servers that block that. So what you tolerate is what you'll get in your life, and refusing to tolerate these things is what I've seen from these other countries, these beautiful expressions of putting humanity first over profits. So why do we travel? Well, number one, it's immediate growth. Getting to the airport and working out your schedule will put you in a situation where you need to get organised. You'll be put in situations where you need to work out, how much is that coffee? Is that coffee $4 in my currency, or is it 40 cents? You will have immediate growth. You'll be forced to smile. You'll be forced to read people's body language because you don't know what they're saying. Number two, you have the realization of self-sufficiency. Nothing is more satisfying than going on a trip by yourself and knowing that you can do it. You don't need someone to help you with your bags. You don't need someone to help you with your tickets. You just do it as a human being traveling through this unique opportunity called planet Earth. Number three, the recognition of environmental factors and people's mindset. Going to countries and realizing that their institutions, their schools speak a certain way, so they speak a certain way. And then going to a country that's a few hundred kilometers away and realizing something completely different, and knowing that those individuals were impacted by their environment, and not judging them so much, not sitting there going, that's a bad person, and maybe looking at the environment and saying, maybe they're in a tough environment. How little you really need. When you travel, the beauty of travel is you can't take much stuff with you. People try, but they start to realize after time that really one bag is better than 3 bags. And the more you travel, and you travel lighter, I've found, and most people have found, the more they travel, the less they travel with. you start to realise you don't need heaps of this stuff. You need your toothbrush, you might need to change your clothes and another pair of shoes, but after that, you don't need much. And this was best demonstrated by my homeboy Marcus Aurelius, who used to go out on campaign and sleep in a tent, even though his home was the Emperor's Palace in Rome on the Forum, rolling around with purple togas, hanging out with the Senate. He'd rather sleep in a tent. Not because he'd rather sleep in a tent, but because he knew by sleeping in a tent, he would really appreciate what he had and didn't need those things. He could have those things, but didn't need those things. Big difference. The importance of body language. I smile a lot when I talk, and the reason I smile is because I realise I'm going to get things wrong. Things I say aren't going to be, universally responded to, and I want people to know I'm coming from a good place. And when you're overseas, you've got to do that. I tell you what, you walk down the Champs-Élysées in Paris, and you walk into and ask for a croissant and a coffee, people will look at you like you're crazy. They probably know exactly what you've ordered, but they want you to appreciate that culture. And how do you do that? I can't speak every language in the world. That's impossible. But what I've learned is that when I walk into a shop, I smile, I do my very best to murder their language and order whatever they want, and the respect I get back is incredible. I've never had a problem. I've heard so many other people talk and complain about how they were treated poorly, generally because they don't realise that using their body language is super important as they travel. Respect for home. I remember landing from Thailand after a great trip last year in Thailand and doing what I normally do, which is I got off the plane, dropped my bags at home, went straight into the beach because, salt water just refreshes you, especially after like a 9-hour aeroplane ride. And I got in the water, looked at the water was way clearer than these tropical destinations I was just at. However, I needed that comparison. You talk to people about Thailand, they talk about the beaches, and I was standing in the water at a beach that is legitimately 900 meters from where I live, and the water was better. I only knew that because I'd be able to compare both, and I had a huge amount of respect for my local beach that day onwards. New friends and new perspectives. Meeting someone who grew up in an entirely different culture, especially like Eastern European cultures, to talk to you, about that culture and what it's really like. I was a child of the Cold War, so my understanding was the Soviet bloc was, they were the bad guys. Then you meet them and realise they're not the bad guys. And what a liberating feeling to know that humans are humans all over the world, no matter how the media tries to portray them. Novelty. The world is a book, and those who do not travel read only one page. St. Augustine. It is a book, and it's a varied book, and you need to really appreciate that those mirrors, those reflections, those fractures of God that exist all around the world in the form of human beings and live in different societies are there for you to meet and interact with and bounce off and learn and to see their cultures and refine and think, how does this affect my life, and am I like this, or can I learn from this, or is something in my life incredible that I should appreciate? Traveling is reading the book and traveling alone. I would recommend, once again, like when people ask me, what advice do you have for single people? And I just generally say to them, appreciate how lucky you are right now to do all these things for yourself and to grow as an individual. And I recommend traveling alone. Of course, there's nothing better than taking a partner or a soulmate or someone who's incredibly important to you, on a trip. But you've got to remember that they're coming with you. You're traveling alone with a partner, and you need to appreciate the skill set that's necessary to travel alone, to be that great guide, to be that great mentor, because there's nothing better. Once you get your head around traveling and you take someone with you, there's nothing better. And finally, the opposite, traveling with a lover. There's nothing. In relationships that you don't grow together, you die together. Relationships where you're not growing, and that's what a relationship is about, is having the reflective pattern of either the sacred masculine or sacred feminine there to remind you of your ability to grow into those different areas. That's what travel's about. And you should travel with your partner. And if your partner doesn't want to travel, great, because you can force them to travel and they can learn the beauty through you, and they never might have done it without you. And if your partner loves to travel, even better. But maybe even push yourselves harder. Maybe go and walk the trail at Machu Picchu rather than going to Las Vegas every single time. The point of travel is to see your creation, to see the world, to take your small abstract model of what you know and to expand it, to take the light of consciousness and to allow it to shine on the multitude of things around you. Is there any better reason than to pick up a plane ticket right now and get somewhere? It doesn't need to be expensive. Airbnb, Uber, all these companies have come together to make the things about travel much easier and much cheaper. I just recently I had a unit in Rome that was about 150 meters from the area that the Temple of Pompey, the Theatre of Pompey, where Julius Caesar was assassinated, which is now a little cat sanctuary. It's really cool. That was an Airbnb. That was $120 for an Airbnb in the middle of Rome. Have a look at these things, learn more about the options to travel. Don't stay stagnant. Don't spend your 2 or 3 weeks a year just sort of sitting, doing the same things you would have done on a Saturday or a Sunday. Get out and explore the world. If not, think about it and plan it. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Until then, goodbye.